New Earth Cosmic Conversations.
Welcome, precious hearts. This is Anrita Melchizedek, and I'd like to welcome you to this week's New Earth Cosmic Conversations, where I am joined by some absolutely amazing co-hosts and panelists. I'm joined this week with Peta Panos, with Timothy Robert, Stevie Johnson, and Shelly Sol. So we're going to get together with this amazing group very, very shortly. And just before we do, I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on energetically this week. So as many of you know, I work a lot with angelic templates too, and what's activating for us in this month of December is the template of peace and calm, and also a deeper level of the template of joy and happiness. So how does this work then? How is this experienced on the inner planes, and how is this experienced within our own lives? Well, a lot is going on energetically as we're experiencing frequencies of the diamond ray consciousness, which is essentially the light codes of Mother, Father, God spiraling through and through the central sun, through the sun, and of course into the solar system and into the sacred sites and into our own loving hearts as we expand what we call this beautiful diamond flame, or this diamond heart. And this essentially creates this energetic rebalancing of the divine masculine and divine feminine spirits, and it's played out in different timelines, different realities, and of course there's a big healing that's going on at this time between the feminine and the masculine, as the masculine is awakening and deepening into the flame of the divine feminine. While this is occurring then, we are experiencing a lot of clearing energetically of cosmic karmic patterns and earthly ego allurements. And what we've seen from this week, from last week to this week, is that we were clearing a lot of the arrogance and lesser than and better than consciousness. And this week we moved into clearing of the energetic abuse and misuse of power, and also sexual abuse. So I've been experiencing this energetic clearing and sensing it being going on around the planet as this too is getting cleared. These are the denser timelines. So what we may experience for ourselves on that level is actually just coming again into our own wounds, our timelines in which we have possibly been abused or experienced sexual abuse, or even just bringing our focus to the sexual abuse of the many, many children that actually has taken place upon this sacred earth, and coming from that heart of love and compassion, taking it in every single soul that has experienced this. At the same time, just the weeping Madonna coming forward and embracing and loving and taking us deeper too into our loving hearts, but doing this as we release the sadness and as we release grief. The other side to this, what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot more of the soul clusters coming together. So we're seeing the soulmates, or what some people refer to as a twin flame energy. I prefer to call it the soulmate energy, because until one truly ascends, we're not truly soulmates. Not truly twin flames. We're talking really about the soulmate energy. And that then might be experienced with a lot more of the Kundalini activations coming online. So it's a deep breathing that takes us into that. The breathing that ignites within us can be seen and experienced almost as though we're birthing the galaxies. It's a deeper level of creative energy, and the Kundalini energy is moving and energetically spiraling through the body, not only clearing the lower chakras, the perceived difference between men and women, and so much of that sexual energy or old, outdated energy or abuse and misuse of energy and power, but as it's starting to spiral through, it's taking us deeper into conscious communication, to conscious relationship. And with that, we start to follow a deeper sense of the stillness and the loving presence within the loving heart. And that presence that ignites through the diamond light is bringing in now what we call also the golden heart. The golden heart energy is connected through the sisterhood of the rose, is connected through the ascended realms, ascended masters, calling upon the sisterhood of the rose, calling upon the energy of Shambhala. And from the heart chakra, it then moves into the crown chakra. So it starts to recalibrate. And what we're experiencing now is just a deeper sense of silence. For those that are truly listening, the mind is emptying. And we do this simply through the breath. we come into that deep breathing. So we take a moment right now to experience that beautiful deep breath, breathing in love and breathing out love. And just feeling that too for all of us, feeling our feet on the ground, feeling ourselves centered, feeling ourselves firmly within the body, connected to our own beautiful, magnificent soul light, feeling and sensing the sweetness and innocence of our own beloved I am presence, deepening into the divine presence that we are as the light of God upon this sacred earth, breathing in love, breathing out love. Experiencing this beautiful diamond flame of innocence and purity ignite within the loving heart, merging into the pink flame of divine love, and now into this beautiful golden flame of unity consciousness, into this threefold flame of empowerment, love, and wisdom. Breathing in the essence of our divinity as we walk this path of love. It's one heart, one love, one unified field of light. And having a sense too of how our bodies feel, we might need to be moving our bodies from backwards and forwards and side to side. Just have a sense of what our own bodies want to do at this time, where we are, what we're working with, any areas of distress or discomfort. We take this beautiful diamond line of Mother, Father, God into body organs, body parts, to any area within the body that needs this realignment, that needs the love, needs the nurturing. As we just deepen into loving and appreciating ourselves and taking a moment to say to ourselves, I love you, giving our full names now. I love you. I love you. Ino soa ia, kino soa ia, in kaino koa. And as we feel into the energies of today, we deepen into the new moon energy and what this brings. It's a deeper sense of reflection, of coming in, of seeing what it is that we truly would like to co-create with the company of heaven in our own magnificence and our own light. And feeling too many of these energetic frequencies, symptoms, cosmic ray energies or galactic cosmic ray energies, also stargates, portals. What is affecting us energetically? How has this been experienced for us individually? And how has this been experienced for us collectively? As we transmute or embrace or accept all that is within our loving hearts. We take a moment now to breathe in and out very quickly, to release anything that's stuck or needing to be moved or shifted within the body. Feeling, sensing, deepening, feeling of our own magnificence and light. Feeling and sensing through the unity grid of divine love, our energy as we come together, as we move into this next stargate of light, igniting and activating the 1212 gateway, and what that brings to us, through the energy of the Divine Mother, through the energy of the Divine Father, through the energy of the innocent magical child, through our purity, through our innocence, through our collective heart of love. Lower timelines dissolve. Energetic, higher dimensional timelines reveal, unveil as we move deeper into the heart and into the hidden chambers, igniting the flame of divine love. And so it is, and so it shall be. So as we just come back, we take this last breath, this deep sucking in breath through the mouth and out the mouth as though sucking in through a straw and blowing out. Centering, relaxing, deepening into the body, just feeling grounded and centered. Feeling our own beautiful energy field and feeling our connection now at a deeper level to one another. Own time, opening our eyes, just being fully present. Looking through our master eyes at all of life around us. Inosoaia kinasiaia inkaino koha. Great. Just a very simple meditation. I find it's always so grounding to just deepen into that and find your voice. And particularly if you've had a very busy day like I have, and then in my excitement, all the words rush out and they all rush into each other. And so when we can just sit back and we can just center ourselves simply through a little bit of deep breathing or grounding or being out in nature, it really does make such a difference to us as we all sort of seeing even my own energy is starting to just ground a lot more and just center into what is going on energetically. It feels a really peaceful day. I know that when we get to Tim just now, he'll have some wonderful sharings with us as what's going on through what we call the galactic cosmic rays and how this is affecting us through the energy of these cosmic rays and also the energy of our sun and things like solar minimum and solar maximum and what's going on through the heliosphere and what's actually going on through the Earth's electromagnetic grid, how we're affected by this cosmic radiation and levels of our ionization. So much that we can actually start to talk with there. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into chatting to you, Tim, and then afterwards we're going to hang out with Peter, because it just feels at this time with what's going on from the planetary energies is really quite important. And I know some of those questions that you've been asking, Tim, too, I feel are really quite important. You know, is this divinely orchestrated? Some of what we're experiencing through this cosmic radiation, or is it actually that we're just being bombarded on different levels as we find our way walking this path of divine love? Also interesting things. You know, we talk a lot about global warming, and so many people have jumped on that bandwagon. You know, we're in this place of global warming. This is happening to the North Pole. This is happening to the South Pole. And yet, you know, I'm not sure that that really is. From what I understand in writings and from readings, there's a lot more going on, and some of it I'm not quite understanding. So I'm going to introduce you to my very good friend, Timothy Roberts, who's really an amazing, I would call him a spiritual cosmologist. So it doesn't really matter what we choose to call him, but he's also an amazing poet and a multi-talented musician. So I look really forward to catching up with you, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. And it's nice to see all the smiling faces here and the energy this field creating. It's wonderful. Here, welcome from Italy. And here it's dark. And it's winter, it's fresh and chilly, and as we speak, I think that's why you say let's start with Timothy. As we speak, there is an increasing solar wind. We go there, and this is the introduction that Anrita already did a good warming up. I just go a little back here, where I say, if from where I come from, it's all my life I've been guided by inspiration. Intuition, and from when I was a little child. And there were just things, there were questions around me and I had answers. And of course, the big people around me were wondering, how do you know? And I just shook my shoulder. Yeah, I just know. And it only got stronger and stronger. And yeah, when I was kind of a 12-year kid, I finally discovered a magazine, and it was a paranormal magazine. And I was reading and I could eat it. And I thought, you know, everything that's pretty normal to me, they call that paranormal. Okay, but now I at least get it, you know. And then I found my way, and yeah, I started into a spiritual journey, but I could not control myself, so let go. I could control everything around me. So there were a lot of, yeah, nasty beings, and yeah, you call it astral and entity, but they were doing things, and I wasn't scared, but the people around me got scared because I could look into the corner of a room. There was a guitar, and the moment I looked at the guitar, there were just two strings, bang, bang, and everybody was shaking up. Tim, what are you doing? I said, I only looked at the guitar, you know. But that became a kind of story, like you have to be careful around Tim because sometimes strange things happen, and that was true. So I knew I couldn't control myself, and then there was this voice when I was 18. It was an English-speaking voice, and I'm Dutch. But that voice that was guiding me since I was 15, and was always talking English, and it said, put your feet on the ground and stabilize yourself. And even that level of English for a Dutch guy, 18 years, I would never use a word to stabilize myself. So it was true to me that there was this guiding voice. And I found my way. I found a job, 9 to 5, and I was into the system. And I knew already, like, I'm going to do this for a year, kind of 10 years. And then I'm going back on my spiritual journey with my feet on the ground. And I never put that in an agenda. But 10 years later, I walked into a bookstore and I took a book off the shelf and I took another book. But I bought that first book, and that book I started reading, and it brought me back on my spiritual journey. And then I realized, man, this is what I agreed 10 years ago to do. But now I was back with feet on the ground. So this is my deep journey. I'm 57 now. So we talk about, again, another 30 years fully on a spiritual journey. And I've been with a spiritual teacher for several years and did some intense world retreats and weekly meditation and weekend retreats and whatever. So I gained a lot of wisdom from all the religions, methodologies, philosophies. And so you can go with me into, you call it Sufism, you call it Tarot, Kabbalah, you call it alchemy, whatever. So from there, yeah, what made the jump? You meet spiritual people, and when around me, I meet more and more high sensitive people. And the high sensitive people, there's one day somebody who is with me, and all of a sudden eyes turn away, and I can no longer communicate, and I see hands turn red, blue, purple, black, and I look at the feet, the same. And it looks like the person is going to faint, so she has to sit. And I say, what's going on? She says, yeah, it's her solar flares. And I thought, but why? And I had to know, you know. And so I started exploring, what is this radiation from space? And I was already astrology-wise aware that we were moving into a long period, and we call this a kind of a 26,000-year cycle, where we were going into a longer period of, take a 12th of it, 2,000 plus years, that we were what we call a shift. We would be bombarded with energy from space that were apparently shaking up a lot. And you can't go with me into that it is altering our DNA. And if it's altering our DNA, look at the biological scientific way. You say it's radioactive, so you're going to die. But if you look from the spiritual way, you say it's altering our DNA and it is waking up sleeping parts. And I didn't have my hands behind it, and I went into this solar radiation, like, okay, so there are cosmic rays, solar flares, and when they come and they are on a very high frequency, and it is radioactive, it's at least on an X-ray, and it can be higher, it can be gamma ray, but it is ionized. It means it are atoms without electrons, and they go straight through our bodies, and because they go straight to the bodies, they heat us up. And when they heat us up, our heart starts pumping because we need to cool down the body, so we get a higher blood pressure. And with the higher blood pressure, we get a pressure on the weaker parts, which is the third eye, which are the eyeballs, and we are the ears, the beeps, the ringings. And we have, some of us have the potentiality to faint. And so, I found out this is coming and it is predictable because I know what our sun is doing. We've got a lot of those telescopes in space around the sun. We've got them around the Earth. We've got them around the moon. We're watching, monitoring, and we can predict something is coming. We don't know exactly when. We can be a day too late, day too early, but around a certain time it's coming. So I could at least help in that way. Say, be aware. We know the symptoms, but get ready, it's coming. But next to that, things started happening when there were no solar flares. And there are many of us, and that includes many people with a good name. And we have, of course, Lisa Brown and others. They frequently talk about that there is now a solar flare when there's not. But what they mean is cosmic energy. And it is indeed happening, but it is not coming from the sun. And I was in that exploration. You go deeper and deeper, and then you find out, this sun is, with its moves, we go back to the 26,000 years, it is moving this way above the galactic equator. So it's more on its own. It's not that dense, So when it's not that dense, it is exposed to rays from space. We call it galactic, but it's actually intergalactic. It's all about exploding stars, colliding stars, supernovas, colliding galaxies anywhere, every time. And those rays go to an empty space and they travel until they reach our planet. And if you are up above the equator, you are more exposed. And if there is also in that area a kind of a gas cloud where we have been in and we're moving out of that protective gas cloud, we get more exposed. And when you then look at the cycles of our solar system and you say there are a certain group of outer planets that are driving the behavior of our sun, I call them Neptune and Uranus, are absolutely you can look at their rhythms and you find back in certain rhythms, at that moment, our sun is going into what they call a solar minimum. There are, for a certain period, hardly any sunspots, hardly any solar flares, and they call that a kind of a sleep state. Well, when the sun is not having those many solar flares, it is not spitting out plasma into the solar system. And when it is less spitting out, it has a weaker protective heliosphere. That's what you refer to. This is where we are in now. The sun is going into a minimum and the heliosphere is weakening. And at the same time, we have, for our own planet, we have our geomagnetic field. This is also weakening. So we get a double bigger exposure to galactic cosmic rays, which are bigger because we are out of the protective equatorial galactic plane, and we are getting out of a void. And this altogether is where we are going to, and it is getting heavier and heavier. And the only thing we can do is adjust. And we know it is apparently raising our frequency, and it is apparently activating things. And then we come into this divine orchestration. Like I say, is it a normal thing that we have this feeling that there is something with our third eye, or that we get this, like there are some fingers working on our crown chakra? Is that because of energy? Yeah, then you can explain everything in technology or in biologic or whatever, but it is still looking like a kind of a plan that we are supposed to wake up and activate things, and we come into the areas. Yeah, I'm open to that we have longer lives, the longevity thing, and that we get in these higher frequencies, that we are preparing to become more galactic beings. So this is all together. I became kind of, and I make a joke as I call myself space weather man, because then it's having an anchor, I've got a space weather update, but it has to do with what's the sun doing and what's happening now with galactic cosmic rays. And it's the kind of a contribution that I bring into, this is the feet on the ground explanation. What is the shift about? It's a long period and we're going through it, and it's going to last for a couple of 100 years in the peak, within a 2,000 years, which is the longer period. And it's about energies. And when you're close to those energies, then I take 1 or 2 more minutes, Anrita, and explain where energies are coming from the sun, from the moon, from planets, from star constellations. Then you talk about sensitivity, and I go into the sky, into the night sky, and I look at certain stars that are known to me as active gamma ray. Almost all the time are double stars, but we call them a star, but it is a double star. But you look in the sky and you say, well, here's the moon, and the moon, it's today, it's together with the sun, and it is coming from Scorpio, because I look into the sky, and now with the sun you cannot see stars, But if there's a full moon, you can see where the moon is, you know. But you look into space, you say, hey, it's not where astrology tells us it is. And that's an interesting part, because I come from energetic perspective, and I say, if the sun is, if you look into any sky map, go on the internet or download any app, every sky map will tell you the sun is in Scorpio. So the new moon today is in Scorpio, and Mercury and Jupiter are in Scorpio. And it's not, I don't need to prove it, because I just go, take a sky map and you know. And what do? I do is that if you are sensitive to energies, then it is a good thing to share what energies we are talking about. So right now, the sun and the moon and Mercury and Jupiter are coming from the Scorpio constellation. So that's a kind of an energy that is different than the fiery Sagittarius, where many astrologers are talking about now. But yeah, it's beautiful, but it's not my thing, because I know the sun is not there, so the energy is not coming from there. So this is the whole thing about what is happening in the cosmos and what is affecting us. The collective is taking all the cosmic rays. We are now going into a coronal hole stream for the weekend. And if you go to more individual, then it is about what is your blueprint? When were you born? What have you agreed with yourself and with others in soul contracts? And we can make that blueprint by looking at your chart. But looking at your chart for me means, where was your sun? Where was your moon? Where were your planets? And they are not where Western astrology tells you they are. So this is my contribution to the collective.
And so very, very interesting. And it really does explain, you know, Tim, I know really whether we call it the galactic cosmic ray, you know, energies, or actually what a lot of people just talk about it as ascension symptoms. You know, I mean, I think essentially they're the same, because when you were starting to talk about it, you know, for me, it was, you know, for me, everything is just like a spiritual context first. In energetically feeling as an energetically sensitive soul impact myself, yourself, and so many of us. You know, so coming from that, and when I then were reading, you know, what you were talking about with the symptoms of, you know, what that cosmic radiation does to us, where you were saying it's like, you know, pressure on the third eye, or the inner ears, or the heart palpitations, you know, the crown chakra, all of that is essentially the same as the ascension symptoms.
Yeah.
So, you know, I perceive them possibly to be very, very similar, or just part of that energetic, you know, cascading of various higher dimensional frequencies, energies that we are actually working with. Because, you know, we also talk about the plasma rays, or we talk about the photonic energy, and that too, all of that brings different frequency energy, the same as the energy of the sun. When you're talking right now, it's like a solar wind. Or we have the solar storms, or we're having the sunspots. What do the sunspots do? How does that affect our electromagnetic field? You know, what happens with the sunburst? So all of that is having an effect on us energetically. Yeah. And some of it is taking us down to downtime, where we can't do anything. We're just really tired, or oversensitive, or the heart palpitations, which we know from a spiritual perspective, for example, it's clearing. It's going in and it's releasing the old wounds, the old hurts, the old betrayals. You know, the third eye is igniting and activating now into greater levels of vision and insight and higher dimensional timelines. The crown chakra is igniting into the pineal in particular. You know, just all these things that are happening as the body itself is spinning in this increased light frequency and becoming light from the inside out as we're merging and connecting into that energy of the soul light. So very, very interesting for me how it actually bridges the scientific and the spiritual nature.
It's true. Yeah, I like what you say, because you mention a lot of things, and there's absolutely, some things are the same. The solar wind is a term for the rays that come from the sun, and they come in a kind of a plasma cloud. So there you go. This cloud travels. So that's why it takes a few days. That's why we can predict. We see that the sun has a kind of a 28-day rotation. So it's coming, and then we know it's coming around the corner. So within a week, it will be Earth facing, and then it will take 3 days for the plasma, which is being erupted. It will take about 2 to 3 days to arrive into our atmosphere. So that's why we can predict. And it's the same with the solar flares, and those are two different things. The coronal hole is a colder area in the sun, and a colder area, if you look at the sun, you know, it's so hot, so you need to filter. So whatever telescope lens they use, they still filter. So we can look at the sun and it is a light ball, and then we see something dark. And that's what we call a hole, a coronal hole. It's not a hole, it's colder. And because we filter, that looks dark. It looks black, so we call it a hole. It's not a hole. But from there, because it's colder, that's where the plasma is leaving the sun and goes into space. So those holes are quite permanent. Of course, they change, but they are quite permanent. But next to that, there are sunspots that pop up like mushrooms. And the sunspots are pretty aggressive in a way, the way how they develop. If they become they can easily become Jupiter-sized, you know, that's pretty big compared to our planet. And when they have a certain setting, where they have an alpha and a beta and a gamma and whatever, then we know this one, if something triggers it, we're gonna have a solar flare. And then it's the question, is that solar flare going to the left or to the right, or it's coming straight towards Earth? And those flares are pretty heavy and intense and aggressive, and they can easily travel very fast as well. But see, that's a bit of difference. Like we see the coronal holes come around every 4 weeks. There you have this one again. It still looks the same as the other previous cycle. It's become bigger. But a sunspot, it comes up and it goes, and it comes up and it goes. And that is what I just referred to with the solar minimum. In the solar minimum, there are no sunspots, but there are still coronal holes coming around every 4 weeks. See, okay. So I gave a bit there, and I like what you did. Like everything is connected, so there are also higher levels, and that includes our sun, which is of course a consciousness itself, and it has higher presences. And what we do with our instruments, the telescopes, are measuring what they see in a certain bandwidth of visible light within a bandwidth of frequencies, which we cannot define. What is on the other dimensions? Is that still the same bandwidth, or is there even a bandwidth? Which is, I question everything. I say, you know, there is something beyond light, and we think everything is light. I'm pretty sure there is something beyond that which we cannot even call light. So, and it is still interacting. So I'm open to those things.
It's so very exciting, isn't it, Tim? Yeah, and I know we also have such a thing with all these numbers. You know, so many of us, you know, it's like at the moment it's so much of the 444, and we've had like the 333, and we've got the 1111, the 2222, or the 111. You know, it's like just absolutely amazing. And I know that you also work a lot with this. It's like it's igniting into the DNA. You know, it's so funny. Every time I look at my computer or anything looking around me, you know, it's like suddenly everything is 1111 or 2222 or 444, 555.
There you go. Yeah, thank you. You bridge something here, because I spoke about I make those blueprints individual, then I can give something to a person. And why do I call it a blueprint? Because it's a real sky astrology part. On where were your sun, moon, and planets really when you were born? And it is numerology, and it is tarot, and it is the Mayan dream spell, whatever. So I think, you know, if you look in those, they have a certain harmony. That's not a coincidence. And in that harmony, you can see a kind of thing, and I make my intuitive interpretation and say, I believe this is you, and this is where you come from, and where you are, where you're going. And yeah, I'm happy to do, because I experience it sometimes brings people to tears, because they say this is something. It's really something I totally recognize or totally resonate with. I say, well, that's why I feel this drive to do. It did the same to me, so I thought it might be interesting for others as well. So this is a bit my life. But yeah, the numbers, wow, yeah.
And we just I get sort of like just these. Well, for a long time, many years ago, I would get, like, I call it the goosebumps, you know, they call them the goosebumps of truth. And now these days, it's just the excitement of the knowing, isn't it? You know, just like everything is just, yes, it just has such a resonance.
True.
So it's absolutely amazing and wonderful. So we have got so much that we'd love to talk about. We'll have to get together another time, another show, and catch up again. We've got all these wonderful guests. And I know that I just wanted to let our lovely listeners know, apart from all your amazing gifts and talents, that, you know, you're just also an absolute incredible musician, but you're also offering some calendars that you've created. We'll again put all the links there afterwards, so that you know, to create this incredible series of calendars that, you know, kind of got me from a numerological perspective and from a galactic perspective as to what is going on in 2019. So,
and I'm looking towards 2020, because that's for me a very important thing. by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
isn't it? And the 2-2 frequency. So very, very amazing things that are happening on the planet, and even more amazing when, you know, we kind of have that resonance and knowing of what we're doing in the collective consciousness and creating and affecting change. And you're just such a beautiful light warrior, Tim, carrying that for all of us too. So thank you so very, very much.
Thank
and
you
I
so
just
much.
wanted to ask, before we move on to our next beautiful guest, apart from all this amazing work that you do and sharings that you have on Facebook, do you do personal consultations, or do you do, you know, how would people connect with you in a way of some level of exchange if they wanted to, you know, what other type of work would you bridge into that?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
are you available for workshops or consultations or traveling, or how would you work?
It's again guided by intuition, but it's intuitive coaching. It's an intuitive healing. It's part of my offerings, but that's stuff that I put it big into the spotlights, but people find their way, and it's somehow maybe because of my my exposure, the way I write and the way I share and give things away, that people think maybe you are the person that could help me or my partner or us as a couple or whatever. And I like to do it, and yeah, that distance doesn't mean anything. So it's both coaching as it is healing. But you know, primarily, if I post something about today we have a new moon in Scorpio with the Sun and Mercury and Jupiter, and within 20 minutes I get an email. I just would like you to do my blueprint, you know, and so that's the flow. And this is, of course, how we live in the now. It's like, you know, it's about you manifest what you need. It is no longer that, I mean, I don't need to fly first class all the time, you know, as long as I got my dog, by the way. I don't fly anyway because my dog will get into a trauma when she gets with me in a plane. But it just means like, I just manifest what I need, and that's not much. And it comes from who you are and what you contribute, and people come before you even start asking. And I'm so in love with that life, you know. This is just how it goes, and I think it counts for all of us.
Yes, indeed. I also certainly live a lot in the present moment, which is really amazing and beautiful. But just want to put it out there to the Light Tribe, if you're looking for really a wonderful, intuitive guide and someone that can possibly help you with your chart or particular problems at the moment, which is often related to some level of, you know, sort of galactic or planetary influence, that absolutely, you know, Tim would be the perfect person to connect with. So thank you so very much. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Great. So our next guest, Peta Panos. Peta is a fellow South African, and you know, we've known each other for so many years. And she lives in Norway, has for many years too, with her beloved. And it's just an absolute pleasure to have Peta on the show too. I know, like so many of us, you've gone through so many of your own changes and shifts too. And, you know, you just have this ability to share with the Light Tribe so beautifully through so much of what you offer. I know one of that is, you know, sort of spiritual tours that you set up and you know, which is really amazing for any of the Light Tribe out there that is wanting to set up and go to sacred science. You know, Peta is really the person that you would connect with if you were looking to set up something. And I know, of course, you have your own spiritual coaching business and other beautiful things that you do. So welcome, Peta.
Thank you. Did I unmute myself? Yes, I did. Yes, thank you. It's so lovely to be here with you. I mean, it's amazing how our paths have kind of, you know, every couple of years we bump into each other, as we were saying earlier. You know, it's just brilliant. So wonderful to be here.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. The last time that Peta and I caught up was actually many years ago in Glastonbury. That was, I can't even remember, 2006 or 2007.
2006, yeah, because I met my now husband on that particular workshop. So yeah, it's kind of, we've kind of walked a parallel path in so many ways. Yeah, so I've lived in Norway now for 10 years. So as you know, when I was in South Africa, I was more in the corporate world, in the tourism industry. So when I moved to Norway, like, I had such a calling to follow my purpose, you know, which, you know, is less easy to work out what that is than one would think, you know. But, you know, my path has kind of evolved, you know, from, yeah, from the healing side, from walking the priestess path. You know, I love variety. So I do still have spiritual quest journeys, and that's tours, as you said, to sacred sites and magical places around the world. And that's such a fun business, because I kind of work with it in a couple of different ways. I do have sort of set departures, which are kind of mid-range type tours, people just wanting to join a tour. And then I do my own retreats, which tend to be women's retreats. And then I'm working with light workers, coaches, healers, people that already have a following, that don't really know much about tourism, but really want to take their tribe to the sacred sites. And those are my best ones. So I always tailor make those, and there's equal focus on the inner journey, which is facilitated by the journey leader, which is the woman or the man with the tribe, kind of backed up with a really good tourism experience. So those are just so joyful and such fun to put together. And yeah, I really, really love those. And then, yes, my coaching business, which has also changed. You know, I think for all of us light workers, we're all on our own ascension paths. And I'm finding that our work is changing. Our gifts are developing. New gifts are coming in. So it's kind of like a moving target at this point, you know, in terms of nailing down what we do. But if I have to come up with a one-liner, I guess it would be helping people move from the old fear-based reality into the new earth, into a love-based reality. And so I'm working predominantly, you know, with my business background, predominantly with entrepreneurs in their businesses, as well as actually corporates. You know, in a corporate shaman type of role, healing the businesses to wholeness, you know, moving them away from the old patriarchal way of doing business, which, you know, is the majority of companies still, and moving into more of a new earth philosophy, moving towards prosperity, moving towards collaboration, moving towards actually having fun at work again. You know, we spend so much time at work. So that's been really exciting for me. And as Tim was saying, which I just loved, what I'm finding in the last few years is, you know, I also went through the heavy social media, you know, making videos every day, loads of posts, content machine kind of thing. But honestly, what I found was that the people that I'm meant to work with find me anyway. And that's kind of what I've moved into now. I've actually pulled away from the very heavy social marketing and actually have found it's far more relaxing, and the right people tend to find me, you know, through word of mouth or what have you. And that's such a blessing. So because I've had such a diverse history and can do, you know, the many modalities and what have you, what I love is crafting somebody's transformation with them, because of course we're just the guide or the way shower, but they're the ones doing the actual work. So whether it's an individual or a company or what have you, that's the enjoyment for me, is actually crafting it and co-creating and working on a project basis depending on what transformation is needed, you know. So I guess that's my update.
That's lovely, you know, Peter, because you know, it's an incredible gift actually to be able to bridge into corporate business, you know, as a spiritual person. You know, not everyone can do it. I know that I think I lasted about 2 years in my early 20s. That was me, you know.
Yeah.
That was it. That was my lifetime of corporate. So, you know, some of us can really do it and do it well. And I think that's really that amazing gift you give of your radiant energy and expression of consciousness to show them conscious ways that they can actually work in cooperation, in conscious communication with one another, and, you know, obviously with their whole team.
Yeah, and you know, I've always found, I mean, through all my years in tourism, I always had, I mean, I've been on my path since I was 14. So I always had that very strong spiritual side to me. I mean, when the last job I did in the corporate world was amalgamating 13 businesses into one. And while I was doing that, I was doing a 3-year Reiki Master's apprenticeship, you know, so it's always been, I think that's why I've been able to do it. And I know not many people can bridge between spirituality and business. But for me, it's more a philosophy of life. You know, a company is nothing more than a reflection of the group of people that are in that business. And once you take it down to that level and work with the top management of the company, it's pretty easy to turn a business, you know, bringing people into alignment with a common goal, you know. And at the end of the day, we are just all people. But yes, the very third dimensional businesses are tricky. So of course it only works when people are wanting the results more than they fear the change.
That's lovely. Wanting the results more than the fear of the change. Yes. You know, and I do see that they are, you know, businesses really becoming quite conscious, isn't it? So I remember years ago, like, I don't know which was, businesses were setting up and they were writing beautiful things on the wall and then painting over it, for example, you know, putting all these, sharing all these love messages, you know, and having spaces for, you know, to bring your kids and to bring your families and X amount off for maternity and, you know, and really healthy food, or the option to work a lot more at home, and, you know, just create an environment of support and unique opportunities, because every single person is quite unique as to one's need.
Totally.
So,
and you know, with everyone waking up, people are, you know, it's no longer a badge of honor to say you work 19 hours a day. You know, it is about harmony and balance. And the more people are waking up, the more they are no longer available to work in the way they did. And I remember one of the main reasons I wanted to leave corporate was because even though I ran a corporate business in a very soulful way, when you have shareholders, and we were a listed company, the pressure on you to you know, do the next year with less money, making more, you know, that hamster wheel just eventually cripples you, you know. And yeah, it was one thing that I really actually wanted to leave behind me. And I've seen over the years how many businesses have changed their mindset. They've become far more conscious. They're going more for a triple bottom line, because at the end of the day, it is about the people. It is about the planet. Of course, it's about profit too. However, that's no longer enough. It's not about money. It's actually about, well, it's actually about joy. Let's face it. It's about, you know, people, a collective bunch of people that truly have a common goal or desire, and then consciously create that. Those are the businesses that I love working with. You know, it's businesses for the new earth.
Exactly, all about soul.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So yeah, the soulful businesses, but really essentially that is it, that we're doing our heart's dream and our heart's joy. Because if we're not doing that, we're actually not making any money anyway. You know, there's just going to be additional levels of stress within that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Anrita, one of the biggest changes I made, and I can say it's only really been a couple of years since I made it, I changed my measure of success from money to joy. And that changes everything. Because as you know, when you're loving your work, you're having fun with it, you're really flowing with it, the prosperity will come. It's universal law, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, these things we pick up along the way that change everything.
That's quite beautifully expressed. And I know for me too, when I went through that transition of the way I was working into a new way of working, it was also, you know, just releasing that perceived lack of, and, you know, just flowing into sort of a new sense of timelessness, of being able to do everything when we need to. And also, it's funny because the soul perspective is really quite different to the human perspective when it comes to making money. From the soul's perspective, it's all just giving deeper in service and knowing that the universe will then pour that abundance onto you. You know, so as I was in this transitioning stage and deepening into timelessness, where you actually work, you find yourself working much more quickly, although in a much more slowly,
smarter,
yes,
not harder. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, on the one level, but the other level was really, really, every moment I had, I was just in service, whether it was, you know, just doing simple things, or whether it was actually just getting online and helping where I could, because I knew that the next level of prosperity consciousness would come the deeper I just gave of selfless service. And that's essentially what we're all here to do, you know. And that's such a lovely guide to know that, you know, if we're in that place of, you know, still discovering or drawing to us as his masterful co-creators, deeper levels of abundance and manifestation, simply just deepen into service, because what holds us often in that lack of is actually still that perceived holding, when we actually just need to just take that leap of faith and just completely trust and surrender. And with that, it just dissolves those, you know, perceived blockages.
Yeah.
So, how beautiful. And do you also do one-on-one consultations, Peter?
Yes, I do. So, you know, I do put together masterminds and various programs. But I find again that it is actually, I mean, my business is called Crafted Coaching, because that's exactly what it is. So my most favorite thing to do is the inner alchemy with people. So, you know, obviously it's working with people's blind spots. I tend to work with really conscious people that have been on their path for a long time. They've done the work, they're doing the work, and then it is such joy to be able to lead somebody or guide them through their blind spots into their subconscious and actually alchemize the block, you know, so that it's gone. And I mean, that's, I guess, my best work. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, so Peter is available. Again, we'll put all those links there if anyone is looking to connect, or if you want to go on a trip, or you want to set up your own beautiful sacred site trip. So thank you so very much. Wonderful, Peter. Thank you. Great. So I'm looking so forward to my next guest that I'd like to introduce us to, Stevie Johnson. And I know, Debbie, I've actually, you know, caught a couple of your shows over the years, you know, and some of the lovely show hosts, whether it's John Burgos and Lorraine Gailey, and you've been out there with your absolute beautiful, magnificent light and sharing the energy of the archangels in such a beautiful way too. So welcome. It's such a delight to have you on the show. And I'm actually looking forward also in the second part, I've got my angel cards too that I can pull out, and we can do kind of a little bit of reading, and also, you know, hear some of your beautiful advice and guidance there too. I think that will be quite wonderful and amazing to do. So thank you for joining us, and welcome, Debbie.
Rita, thanks so much for having me. I loved your meditation. I want to say that I love the energy of every guest. I could feel all you guys. I'm just vibrating really high. I can feel it. I'm kind of spacey, but good. Yes. So thank you for bringing that space. It's a space I feel at home in. It's like, almost makes me want to cry. It's like, I resonate with it. I resonate with all of you, and I resonate with the energy. And I know a lot of people listening do too. And I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
And hello from Miami. I'm in Miami right now. It's warm here. Sorry for everyone that's cold.
So tell us a bit about your story. You know, how did you come to be this beautiful angel messenger? And you know, and how do you work?
Okay, you know, probably like everyone else, it wasn't easy. You know, this path, it has not been easy. The real awakening I had was when I suffered anxiety disorder, severe anxiety disorder, debilitating, where I couldn't eat or drive for about a month. And during that time, I tried different medications. Nothing would work. And I knew, I was like, something is not right with me, and something's not right with the treatment. And that was my first awareness of that maybe everything I was being told wasn't right. And I had to trust myself at that point. And trusting myself was like listening to the heart, listening to the angels. And people I admired were giving me advice, and it wasn't resonating. So that was a really trying and difficult time. And physically being in, not feeling well or in your normal state is also, it lowers your, ability to handle everything. And so during that time, I had this awakening. I saw the word Reiki. I just walked by it and I knew I needed it. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I need that. And within one treatment, I was relieved of panic attacks that no medication could get rid of. I believe, in my experience, I was guided by angels. I was guided with my heart, and I believe we all are. So my experience has made me really tap into that and to teach people, hey, listen, go inside. Angels are giving us signs everywhere. Trust what you know, and you don't know why you know. Because of my experience, I was able to really go there and help other people go there too, get that information out of their heart. And I started to study. I went back to school at that time. I started to go into pre-med, and I was accepted to USC in California to work with children with autism and ADD. And I was doing all the prep and, getting my anatomy, physiology, all that in course. And I was also working with children and giving them Reiki, because I had learned Reiki after it was given to me. And it was working. And I kept hearing that the children needed to ground, that some of them were just so elevated that the reason they couldn't function well here was they couldn't ground. Well, and this is about 20 years ago. So when I was going to school or about to go to school, I was like, these kids are doing really well with the Reiki. Maybe they don't need medication. And that was not accepted at that time to have that opinion. So I didn't go to school. I resigned a scholarship and didn't go. And that was just after that other experience I had to listen to my heart and, just go follow Reiki and get well. And it healed me at that time. And it had the same resonance when I just knew that school wasn't my path. And that was a really, the rest of the world was like, what are you thinking? So that again, my experience is like teaching people, even though the rest of the world's not agreeing with you, go inside, go to the angels, trust. Because the way it is now is not the way we were necessarily taught, our teachers were taught. There's so much information that's new that we have to deal with in a new way. And that took me, I've been on the spiritual path ever since. And those two profound experiences changed my life. And I continue to do Reiki on myself, on others. I also brought the angels in. Now, at that time, I knew I was getting information from somewhere, but I wasn't sure where because I hadn't seen them yet. But I was still doing Reiki sessions, and I started to see angels. I started to go, I need help. I'm in a place now where I'm out of my Reiki symbols. I'm out of what do I do next? And I was just like, help me, you know, and then the angels started to show up, and I was like, I could see how powerful they were, and they could do everything faster than I could, you know, or I could imagine. And that's when I started to call on them and use them in the work that I, you know, the archangels. I started to realize how magnificent they are. Now, that's the only way I'll tap into the other side, honestly, because I realize how they understand and run that realm, and also see how they guide everyone. There's no one not being guided by angels. It's just we have to understand how they're talking to us in our heart, in our life, and with little, and even through others, they talk to us with their little messages, you know. So that has led me to where I am now. I continue to help people understand on an individual basis or on a group basis how the angels are talking to them specifically, help them see the clues. And you had mentioned 444, 333. I love that. That's
angels. Yeah.
Angel numbers. Yeah, I figured that out after seeing a number for 10 years in a row. I'm like, what is this number? And I asked a priest, I asked a rabbi, I asked a yogi. No one knew. And I opened Doreen Virtue's book. Bam, that's what it meant. So I'm just saying, like, the angels are magnificent, and the way they communicate is so easy, but it's so easy that our logical mind will often miss it. So I try really hard to be not logical and go there for others out of logic to help them get the angel message, you know, and learn how to see it daily.
That's quite beautiful. You know, for me, the angels really have a high purity frequency. That's probably the best way that I can describe it, you know. And I've worked with the angels. Funny, our stories are really parallel there a little bit in the beginning, Debbie, where I would also get in my early 20s, like really severe panic attacks. And, you know, and that was obviously just that energetic sensitivity igniting and activating. But what did we know at that stage? And then I moved to the UK, and it was like I was just really just guided. And next thing, you know, again, just having a knowing but not having a knowing. And I found myself to also a Reiki group and working with an absolutely amazing Reiki master. And after that first session, I started to see the archangels. And Archangel Michael came to me first. And he was one of the, you know, and I'm sure for many of us, it seems to be Archangel Michael often, you know, seems to be one of the prominent archangels that appears first. But Archangel Michael really has been with me, been with us, been with so many of us, you know, since that time. And then my journey then took me really into the starseed quadrant for many, many years, which was also absolutely amazing and awesome, and levels of initiation. That's really been my pathway. And then more recently, I came full circle again back into working with the archangels in the last couple of years, where I created this really beautiful set of archangelic invocations and affirmations, and it's called the Angel Tools for Parents and Children. And so it was wonderful again. Yes, I had a friend that drew the archangels for me, and I've got an angel room, and with that I've created this amazing range also of these angelic templates of soul scents. It's a combination between 5 and 10 different essential oil blends, and there's 12 of them, and it's for joy and manifestation and peace and health and wellness. And really what it is, it's the overlighting of the angelic energy into that, along with crystals and diamond frequency, and I play sulfur frequencies and God names every day. So it's like just really this angel room, you walk in and you truly feel just this angelic presence within it. So it's such a, you know, the angel energy for me is just, again, you know, it's just such a beautiful overlighting. It's probably just the best way to express it. And just such an amazing gift of service that they give us, and all the angel helpers. You know, it's not, of course, just the archangels, it's the archangels, and there are many, many legions of light. So really, really beautiful. And how do you work then, Debbie? Do you do personal consultations? Do you do workshops? How do you actually work with the angel messages?
Well, right now I do a lot of readings, over the phone or Skype, working, and a lot of healing and clearing the same way over the phone or Skype. I also work with music and sound healing. I think sound heals faster than anything else. So I work with the frequencies like 432 hertz, 528 hertz, and use that combined with Reiki and electronica and create sound healings. I have those available. And I think they work really fast, and they're easy. You can just put it on and don't think. Mindless.
Yeah. Wonderful. Are you yourself the musician though? Are you creating the sound yourself, or are you just using a sound frequency?
Well, I use crystal bowls, and I work with a writing partner who creates the music around it and the frequency, and I produce it. So
okay, wonderful.
Yeah, we work really well together and create the sound, around the crystal bowl.
Lovely. And we had on our show recently also just an absolutely amazing Emma Sophia Rose, who had and then we actually had also another lady a little bit before that, Kimberly. And just they had all the crystal bowls and just the sound of it, and that sound of purity as well. Isn't it just so beautiful? So it is really just, music is a universal language of the soul. So, like everything is just frequency. And so I think the range of it, just because it can octave, through so many dimensional frequencies, that it's just quite a beautiful one to work with, the crystal frequency and the crystal energy. Lovely. So you do these beautiful readings for people, so they come to you for whatever their thing is, whatever they're needing assistance with, or is it sort of specialized?
But I don't even know what's going to happen until I say a prayer, and then I just start here. I mainly work with audience or clairaudience. So I'll just start hearing what the guides or angels are telling them. And a lot of times, that's not really what they asked about, but that's really what they needed. So it'll go to that soul, like, let's go deep. A lot of times it'll go deeper than you think. And I've noticed that a lot lately. It'll go like to a core issue instead of like the present issue.
Mm-hmm.
There's no specialization. I just, whatever is needed or causing, distress, to help that. I have a lot of people that come with anxiety and that disorder, because I've been through it myself. I understand it. And I have a lot of people that do come to me for that, but because I think Reiki and angels can help the most with that disorder. But anyone's welcome for anything, whatever's going on in physical, emotional, spiritual body. I don't know if I lost sound. Good. Sound. I lost Anrita. Okay. Hi. I don't have sound. Anrita, are you there?
You have sound. We hear
I
you.
have sound.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Anrita's coming back. Okay, I saw that.
We can unmute ourselves. Yeah, so now so Peta, you can also unmute yourself. We can talk.
Okay.
So yeah, and Anrita has to come back. She lost connection. Yeah, it happens. Huh?
That happens. So enjoyed hearing about the work you all do. Thank you for sharing.
So, well, I'm so much enjoying myself as well, and it's beautiful. Yeah, it's good that we are muted so everybody can speak freely, but it's so inspiring. Wow, like, Peta, you were in your business background. That is where I came from as well, and I had it in my profile. I'm on LinkedIn that way, you know, that for decades already I wrote I have more values next to the shareholder value, you know, and I was too early, and I tried to bring spiritual management into the corporations. I was too early. But it is wonderful to hear from you that it is making that transition now. And I stepped out of that life. It's my old life. I'm no longer in the business. And for you,
look, it's very much my old life as well. However, I've been approached by a couple of companies, and so I've taken it on as projects, you know. But yes, I know exactly what you're saying. I think for so many of us, our work was when we knew our next evolution and our new work. It was always too early for for, you know,
beautiful, eh?
In general, you know. Yeah, it's almost like in those first couple of years you have to, you know, you're actually finding your feet and no one wants your product, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's like everyone's woken up and everyone wants what you have to offer. But those years are hard going when you know, people actually don't even know what you're talking about. Nowadays, everyone's talking about this. But
beautiful. Shelly, you should start talking in a few minutes. But I have one thing to Debbie as well. Debbie, I hear you, and I say, Debbie, we should talk. Your anxiety disorder, and as an angel, this is such a wonderful connection I would like you to make with somebody that feels like the perfect fit. There's something you can offer that I say, wow. You know, there's somebody who fell back in the 3D system where they look at such a person, they say, well, this is a schizophrenic, and I try to tell her, no, she's not. She's into energies and whatever, and they think, yeah, energies we don't get, and let's give her some medicine, and then they start drugging somebody. What I say, but you shouldn't do that. I like you to connect. This is beautiful.
Thank you, Timothy. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
you guys are awesome.
And here I think Anrita should be coming back because we already see an empty chair. But maybe, Shelly, why don't you start? You know, you don't have your introduction, and maybe you can introduce yourself, and we have a beautiful show in the improvisation.
Yes.
Absolutely. I can roll with it for sure.
Elaine, there you are. Yeah, you're in the line. Yeah.
Yeah. Can
yes.
you hear me?
Yes, we hear. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Shelly Sol, and I'm the founder of the Blue Heart Animal Sanctuary in Western North Carolina. And I am facilitating the co-creation of a healing center retreat where those who are awake and of the light can come and connect in with Mother Nature and be in these beautiful, loving frequencies that have been calibrated here. And so, yeah, I have a really kind of interesting, rapid awakening that I've gone through over this last year. I do consider that I had a sudden awakening last August. I went to a crystals class at a community college, and when she laid the stones on me, it was as if someone had flipped a light switch. It was just like, oh my gosh, like, what is this? And, you know, from that moment on, it's just like I was all in, because nothing resonated with me to the truth of who I am then in that moment when I experienced the energies like that for the first time. Now that I have, you know, a different type of perspective, I see that I kind of like laid the groundwork for having that experience by having this really open, loving heart, because I have cared for animals like this my whole life. And I did start the animal sanctuary in Florida in 2001. I was an animal cruelty investigator, which for someone who is an incredible empath and who is telepathic with animals, I can tell you that was extremely challenging, but that was part of the work that I needed to do, because what I realize is I hold this frequency that is so healing for people and animals. And so, yes, I did have to put myself in those situations, but the love that I was able to offer those animals that had gone through those things that was the work that I was to do. So, yeah, in 2006, we relocated from Florida, getting away from the heat and the hurricanes, and we moved about animals up to the mountains of Western North Carolina. And that was an incredible journey, and I'm so glad to have that behind us. And yeah, right now I'm caring for dogs and cats and sheep and goats and pigs. I've had horses in the past. I'm calling in some donkeys. And, you know, my whole life, all I ever thought I wanted to do was just to be a place where animals could come, have this sanctuary for animals who have been the victims of cruelty and abuse. And then, you know, I guess I was having a lot of issues with my physical vessel, with my physical avatar. I had a lot of health problems. I had a lot of awareness of spirituality. I was involved with a science mind. Is she back?
Yes, I'm here. I'm so sorry.
No,
crazy
no problem.
internet.
Jumped right in. So.
Yes. Perfect. Great.
We moved on, and I invited Shelly to start introducing herself. So
how wonderful!
Perfectly
and I really wanted to do that. A beautiful Shelly. Thank you. I was just going to say, I've put some of your wonderful videos on your animal sanctuary, and your dogs, and your, I don't know if it's pigs or all these beautiful little animals, and just so heartening and heartwarming. And in a parallel reality, if I wasn't doing the work that I would do, I certainly too would absolutely love to be living on an animal farm and just working with animals, and have such a deep connection with animals. At this stage I've got 5 cats, but if we had a bigger space we'd have like 5 dogs too, and a couple of horses and some sheep and some cows, and it should all go on. They just really are absolutely amazing. So welcome, Shelly. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited to talk to you too. And Debbie, we'll get back to you in a minute. I know we're going to do something fun together in a short while. So thank you for your wonderful sharings.
Yes.
Great. So please share with us a little bit more about your beautiful story, Shelly.
Sure. Yeah, I was just sharing, having this loving heart for animals my whole life, and then having this, kind of process I had to go through to heal my physical body. I was diagnosed with multiple autoimmune disorders, and I went through an adrenal fatigue, systemic candida, and just a lot of problems with my physical avatar. And about 2 years ago, it'll be 2 years in March, I found a company. It's a nutritional rebalancing program that clears all this toxic garbage out of our cells, because we're constantly bombarded, and as light bodies, as light beings, even though I've been vegan since 1990 because of the ethics that and the connection that I feel to animals, my body was very toxic, and toxicity equals inflammation. And so that is how all these like digestive issues and things manifested with me. And so 30 days into that program, I knew this was what was working for me, clearing all this garbage out of my cells, putting back in the very best nutrition. And I think in doing that, it kind of like laid the foundation for me to be able to bring in these high frequency energies in a really pretty rapid amount of time. And so, Arnita, I was just sharing that I had a sudden awakening, that moment at a community college when some stones were laid on me. And then, once you have an experience like that, I was all in. So I started having energy work sessions every 3 weeks. And then every time it was just like another like mind-blowing, like completely reality changing type of awareness. I had experiences with angels coming in and giving me messages. You're a facilitator, trust God and allow it to be. And at the time I had no idea what that meant, but when divine beings are like coming in and you feel their presence and they're around you and you feel supported, you just are able to more easily, I think, get into that place of purely surrendering to knowing that you are on the right path. And like you mentioned with the angel numbers and the confirmations and the feathers and the pennies and all the beautiful things begin to unfold and align for you that just confirm, yes, this is what it is. Yes, this is the way to go. And then I have such joy and appreciation and gratitude in my heart. And I do have a very childlike energetic signature. And so for me, I just have so much fun with it because I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's another number. Yes. Oh yes. Thank you for that. Thank you for that confirmation. And then it's just like you're in this place of just so much joy and appreciation. And then life just becomes this amazing, wonderful game. And so, yeah, just doing these sessions every few weeks and having these amazing mind-blowing awarenesses. And I had an experience where she, in one of the sessions, she put some stones in my hand and I almost flew off the table. And I was like, oh, what is this? This is my home. It's like, no wonder you can't put human words to what I'm feeling right now. Like, what is this? What did you put in my hands? And she said, oh, well, they're Lumerian seed crystals. And I was just like, what's that? And she's like, well, I invite you to explore, you know, what the Lumeria was. Perhaps something about that would resonate with you. And then, you know, from that, it was just like, oh, okay, obviously I've had incarnations there in Lumeria, and then all the connections with the Pleiadians, and then all these amazing things are just beginning to kind of like pieces of the puzzle are beginning to like come into focus. And so it's just being in this place of purely surrendering. And every day I'm just so incredibly grateful for this animal sanctuary and for what's unfolding here, because I do see the vision that, yes, it did start with the animals, but the animals are just a piece of what I have to offer. This energetic signature that I carry, it has altered the frequency. It changes the frequency everywhere I go. I'm doing now a lot of light language activation. I'm feeling very called to speak light languages just as I'm walking around the sanctuary, when I'm connecting in with the animals, when I'm touching trees, when I'm walking through the mall under my breath a little bit still. So I am releasing, you know, the fears that I've had of being able to speak my truth and allow my light to shine in the way that for all of us, you know, it is there. There's just a little bit of a layer that we need to just pull away, and then just allow our hearts to open and just to be in our heart space. And it's so good. I get so excited, and I need to remind myself, yes, I love to be up here. Yes, I love to connect in with the angels and the cosmics and source God creator, but those energies are needed here. So what I'm really working on is just being this very clear, open conduit, this channel to bring in these pure frequencies and to anchor them here on earth and create these grid points where, you know, it just expands out. So, so much gratitude.
Yeah. Yes, and I can truly feel your joy. It's, you know, I feel that too. So often just that excitement of where we are and what we're doing, and, you know, kind of trying on all these different hats, and you know, just this is happening and then that is happening, and it's just really quite amazing and really beautiful. And that work, I feel, for a very long time was really centered in you know, the energetic transmissions and the activation of the DNA. And it's still, you know, obviously there is that part of the work that will always continue, but now it's really just very heart-centered. You know, it's just within the heart, and the knowing from that we are co-creating and sharing the presence of love. So, and grounding into it, and that then is being out in nature, isn't it? And I love that light language. I remember that too. Also did a beautiful little light language transmission gift for me. So, you know, I think a little bit late in the show, well, that's a little bit later is probably very soon. Maybe we could just start just now with a little bit of that light language, Shelly, that you have, because it was really beautiful. And then maybe we can just move into just working a little bit with the archangels, with myself and Debbie. We can just find out how Debbie might like to work. We'll catch up with her shortly. I think it would just be really beautiful. But I don't know if you would just, like, we can take a moment, take a breath, and you can just bring through a little bit of that beautiful light language.
Mene shkorai onaya turea tera me era shkoro manea tea ora makate ana shkarana be ero markate ate ashkara be kere umane te ana bere ana shkorai te ana bere umane te ana shushumane te ana te ando kareate. Yeah.
You're beautiful.
Thank you.
Would you like to share with us a little bit about how you work, Shelly? That in terms of if people wanted to connect with you and do a session with you, or possibly come to your animal light community sanctuary, because I know a huge part of the work here for you too is that vision that many of us have in setting up as a light community, isn't it? To bring together our brothers and sisters of the light and just live on the land. And you know, also my heart is that so much, because I truly believe that that is really how the New Earth blueprints are igniting and activating, not only deep into the soul clusters and coming together as the light communities. And I'll definitely like to talk in a few minutes more about the voices of the light tribe that I'm guided to co-create. But the next stage beyond that then is the light tribe coming together and living on the land, and possibly what your vision with your beautiful land might be.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. Yes, I'm so blessed with 40 acres, and it's covered in quartz and mica, and there's streams and moss, and it's truly a magical place. And I do intend to facilitate a center where people can come and connect in and feel these energies and have that spark of remembrance of their own divinity, of the truth of who they are. And just allowing it to unfold in the divine right way. And I'm in this place now of not trying to figure out the who or what or when or where, but instead just surrendering to allow this to unfold. And, you know, certain logistical 3D things need to come into place, but I know that that's all, you know, being brought forward now. And I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity to invite Soul Tribe to come here and to feel these energies so that we can connect in. There's so much power when we connect in together, and group meditations, through dance, through, you know, drum circles, whatever, just to allow our energy fields to come in and to create a bigger grid point here to anchor this light and to send it out. And so, yes, I am facilitating this center. I do one-on-one sessions as well. The center and my offerings is called Divine Liberations. And I am now offering light language activation. I never know what's going to happen in a session, because I just truly get out of the way and just allow Source, God, Creator to work through me. And I think that's so incredibly beautiful. So I do incorporate, I am a Reiki master teacher. I really feel like that kind of just opened the door for these energies that are coming through. I think that really just allowed me to be this clear, open conduit for these beautiful energies. So I do ascension mentoring, nutritional consulting. I wear a lot of different hats, and I'm incredibly honored and grateful to be where I am and to have these awarenesses. And if I can offer myself to be of service to spark those remembrances and other people, then, oh my gosh, that's just amazing. I'm truly grateful.
How wonderful, Shelly. And that's such a lovely as well. It looks very sort of Aztec Mayan, you know, sort of I have this whole energy, and also very earthy too with it, you know, just sort of like this real earth priestess energy that's coming through from you. So yeah, that's really quite beautiful. So thank you. I look forward to the possibility of meeting with you next year when I get to Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a couple of minutes just to share that. And with all our beautiful co-hosts, what we will be doing anyway is we will put all that information up there, that of all the links on the Facebook comments page, so you can go and find all these amazing people and let them share the light as we all do, and just come together at that deeper level with one another. So part of the work then that I've been guided to co-create is called Voices of the Light Tribe, and we'll then be heading to Glastonbury in June for the June solstice, and that will be a 4-day event from the 19th to the 22nd, or the 22nd of June. And that then is essentially going to be co-hosted by just amazing facilitators. There are 4 hosts. It's myself, Miguel Dean, Lisa Rabin, and Steve Noble. And within that, then we're going to have up to 6 facilitators a day over the 4 days. And the facilitators will come together, either working together or come together and just have up to half an hour where they will be sharing a little bit of their story in the beginning, but mostly then experiential. So whether it's music, meditation, transmission, channeling, sacred story sharing, business mentoring, light community sharing, all of this is what we're then going to, put together and co-create. And it's going to just be an absolutely amazing space for the Light Tribe to come together. And this will be a 4-day event. And then we're also going to be doing one in Boulder, Colorado. And that's over the September equinox energy. And so I invite you as the Light Tribe, if you feel that you would like to facilitate and take that time either to be doing it in co-creation with others or having something to share, to really just get in contact with me, so that we're going to start up the next month in putting together all that material. And again, it could just be that you have the gift of music. My beautiful friend Stella Fairbairn is coming from Northern Ireland, and we're going to do a solstice evening too. She's a voice alchemist with the most beautiful voice too. And we'll be doing sort of the codes of the Magdalene, anchoring that through the Avalon energy, which is really all about the sisterhood too. So this is essentially just deepening into the divine feminine and igniting the codes of the divine masculine and carrying that through as a theme in whatever way is being experienced as the Light Tribe, because this truly is our time now. It's a time that we're coming together. It's a time that we're setting up the New Earth templates and the light communities and coming together physically at the first stage of the initial reset into the New Earth templates and blueprints in the co-creations of light. So we're essentially setting up as the light councils on the sacred earth. That is really what's happening for the New Earth now. We've been called to set up as the light councils in that sovereignty of governance, in that community and unity of one unity consciousness. And this is the time. So I'm very excited to be co-hosting that, and the Bold event will be co-facilitated with myself and Lorraine Gailey and Sandra Walter, and then of course all our beautiful facilitators that will join us at this time. So I'm just putting it out there. Get in contact with me via Facebook or via my email if you may like to be a facilitator and join us at that time. Good. So we're going to move into, I just feel it might be really nice just to do something with a little bit of the archangelic energies. Maybe I can just move into a 5-minute transmission and, just bringing through part of those templates that are coming through now for the December gateway as we're moving into the 12-12. The 12-12 energy is essentially actually, again, just a deepening of the unity consciousness codes. So it's again the divine masculine and divine feminine, finding new balance. And that's part again of that clearing energetically of the lower timelines and anchoring at a deeper level within our own hearts. The golden rose. At this time, the golden rose is energetically the merging of the masculine and feminine, and we see that through the Milky Way and Andromedan galaxy, which we call the golden rose galaxy, and then it merges and ignites within our loving hearts as the golden rose, which is essentially then the balance of our own divine masculine and divine feminine spirits. And the angelic templates then, they come in and anchor that at a deeper level, just taking us into the stillness of the higher mind and into the joy and love of our own hearts. Ignite in this month through the overlighting of Archangel Gabriel, beautiful angel of joy. So Archangel Gabriel has his beautiful, beautiful golden yellow flame of joy, and she ignites us within our loving hearts. And Archangel Chamuel is coming forward too, with Archangel Gabriel holding that flame of peace. And if we just move into just feeling and sensing that, we can just take a moment just to breathe that through. And then I will take just a very few minutes to do this, so we can then move into Debbie coming through. And what might be quite nice there, Debbie, we can just do a small reading for our own little group, just see what comes through there. So if we just all just find ourselves again, just coming into the body and seeing how we're feeling at this time, and taking a moment simply to breathe in love and breathe out love. And as we do this now, as we just breathe in love and breathe out love, let's just have a sense of Archangel Chamuel coming forward first and wrapping us in these beautiful ruby red angelic angel wings, and placing beautiful pink flame of divine love within our loving hearts. Breathing in love and breathing out love. And as we deepen into a space and place of love within ourselves, just find ourselves starting to just ground and anchor and feel into our bodies and feel into our own energies. Energy field too, what is going on there, and if there's anything that's uncomfortable and needs to be released, we can move the body at the same time as well as just doing this very deep sucking in and blowing out breath. And then just taking ourselves back into the body to just now breathe in love, hold the breath and breathe out. And within the loving heart, we just embrace the full range of our emotions, and we hold this now just for a minute at this moment in time into what is being cleared energetically here. This is the issues of abuse and misuse of power, which is part of this wounding between the male and the female. And we're just going to take this beautiful pink flame of divine love and we anchor it within the hearts of all those that we've walked with along the karmic timelines to know ourselves as love, just honoring the pre-birth agreement, separating our emotions, our feelings from these unique animations and from these characters within these unique animations. Just knowing that all is love. Love essentially is all there is. And every other emotion and feeling is really just our own inner family. Whether we call this a wounded soul aspects, the personality aspects, it's the inner family that we love first. In finding this balance within ourselves, and maybe coming up here is really sadness, and irritation, or anger. So it's been part of what's been cleared energetically. As we just breathe in love, we hold the breath and breathe out, just releasing all that needs to be released at this time. Just welcoming the anger, or the sadness, or the irritation, or the abuse, and whatever level of this may be, or timelines of sexual abuse, or emotional abuse, physical abuse, and also for a moment just holding this energy for the beautiful children of the sacred earth that have experienced that. As we wrap this earth in this beautiful pink flame of divine love and the overlighting of Archangel Gabriel, we breathe in love and we hold the breath just to allow that deeper release, and then breathe out. As we're doing this, Archangel Gabriel comes in with this beautiful white flame, just ignites it too within our loving heart and around our body as a bubble of light, this beautiful white bubble and this beautiful white flame of purity and clear communication. We can express lovingly and gently what we need to say, as we may want to call upon those souls that there's still some energy, energetically, that we are releasing. Possibly still some blame, victim, persecutor consciousness being played out. As we're just loving, appreciating, and deepening into the nurturing of ourselves. We can just see in clear communication and expression of self. And we can lovingly and gently disentangle ourselves from these old energies, just release, let go, forgive, possibly even just forgiving ourselves for imagining that we were unworthy of love, for imagining that we were anything less than love. And if there's still a lot being released for us, we just breathe in love and hold that breath again and then breathe out. We have a look within all those relationships, all that's coming up for us, what we need to communicate or express or say. not only to the inner family, loving and appreciating and accepting all that we are, but to the reflection of the outer family, friends, karmic mates. This is also part of what's energetically activating, is a deeper level of the soul note and expression of that. And as this is coming in, I'm just going to make a sound. It's a crystalline frequency that's clearing here. As we come deep into the stillness of our own hearts, of our loving divine presence, to the sweetness of our soul light, we have a deepening sense of the stillness of the mind. From this space and place of our own divinities, these flames of light, Archangel Gabriel comes forward, wrapping us in her beautiful golden yellow flame of joy and igniting this flame of joy within our loving hearts. We take it through each one of our chakras, just feeling this wave of love within us and around us, and feeling and experiencing to the energy of our own soul light, our higher self, our beloved I am presence. Deep into our hearts, dreaming into our hearts' joy, we walk this path of love, co-creating as the flames of divinity, as the sons and daughters of God. So we take a moment to simply express our divinity as the light of God we are. Seeing and sensing those timelines of our highest potentiality ignite and activate into the greatest levels of joy we can experience at this time. Inkaina koa kia sina maya. Inkaina koa. Just feeling the energy of Mother Earth, feeling the energy of our own magnificence and light. Grounded, centered, wrapped in the arms of the angels, our beloved I am present. We come together as one heart, one love, one unified field of light. Ready for our next journey, ready for the next level of our soul's blossoming, magnificence and light at this time of new beginnings. And just through the energy of the day, taking time for ourselves as we now suck in as the sucking in through a straw and blowing out. Just aligning us cosmic heart of Mother Father God and into the crystal heart of Mother Earth. So as we come back, we take a moment once more to place our hands upon our loving hearts. Say to ourselves, I love you, giving our full names now. I love you, Peter. I love you, Tim. I love you, Debbie. I love you, Shelly. I love you. I love you. In kaino koa kina siya ia. In kaino koa. Good. Really just gently come back and just feeling that angelic energy and our own beautiful energy of love and energy of love with one another. Wonderful. Just going to show you some of these lovely images that came there. That's Chamuel. Very sweet. Gabriel, deeper into peace, deeper into love. And Jophiel, deeper into joy. Right. Great. We're all grounded and centered and looking forward to Debbie sharing at this time. If, you know, Debbie, if you may like to, I think possibly we'll just do something small for the group if that feels okay with you.
Sure. You mean everyone, the panel, yeah, that would be great.
Perfect.
So I've already picked up some things. I don't know. I'm not sure what it's about, who it's about. So I'll just mention a couple things, and if it's you, I'm talking about you, but I don't have a name, or I don't know who's with what. But I picked up someone's getting married. I saw a ring or an engagement or commitment. I saw that in the group. I saw some type of commitment. It could be engagement or marriage. I saw the ring. I also kept seeing tummy, like a stomach issue. Someone has a stomach issue. I got a little acidic, kind of, or acid reflux, something like that, or tummy digestion problems. That I felt too in the group.
You're in Italy?
Is that Italy? Is that in Italy, Timothy?
Yeah, both. Shelly, you're making a lot of noise.
Oh, mute myself. Sorry.
Well, I've muted you just for a minute. So you can unmute yourself, Shelly, to be chatting. We're just chatting at the moment. So if you just get yourself comfortable, then you can just unmute yourself. So Tim, you're saying that you've got some tummy stuff at the moment.
No, but it's here in the apartment. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm feeling something around you.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's yes, true. Yeah. Yeah. That's my partner.
Okay. So the angels, I'll ask them to do their work and clear it. So anything that's like a health related or a block, that's third chakra. That's
Well, she has been in hospital for a month and has been drugged, and I didn't know what they were doing. But when she came home last Tuesday, she brought the medicine with her, and then I finally saw what they were giving her, and I said, "You better stop right away." But part of those is the constipation, and it's pretty serious. So.
okay.
Yeah, last night I had to make Camilla tea. But you do what you can, like let's bring this back to normal. But it's pretty serious what's happening in her stomach. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels very acidic. So I'm just gonna ask Michael to clear the energy, and see what can move that's not physical that could help. So Archangel Michael, can you please release anything not of the light affecting the third chakra of Timothy's partner? So it went to the adrenals and the kidneys, not just the stomach. So the angels cleared the stomach, but then they went back to the adrenals. That means it's related to kidney and adrenal. It's got a base in that area, not just stomach, but that's still third chakra area. I hear severe diet change or drastic diet change is needed. I'm not sure what the diet change is, but it would be where it benefits the kidneys and less acidic. quickly, as fast as possible. And I heard healing. So your partner will heal. And I heard in the new year, so it won't take that long. There's the other side to it. It's not going to, I heard cancer free also. So there's not a serious, it's going to recover. It's not a serious chronic issue. Now, it's kidney based or kidney originated or renal originated. So that's really critical to tell you or to investigate more.
Right. Well, it's related to what I intuitively get through all the time. Like, you need to eat, you need to drink, you need to walk, you need to get in the sun. That's the basics. And the drink is an issue. Now you mentioned the kidney. That perfectly makes sense.
Yeah, kidneys need nourishment and extra cautious and careful with the kidneys. They also need alkalinity instead of acidity. Now, back to moving or the group. Timothy, if it's okay, I'm going to move because I think that was it for your partner for now, if that's okay.
We'll talk.
Okay. Shelly, is Shelly still here?
Yes.
Okay. For Shelly, I knew specifically this was her because it was an animal. I saw an elephant. So I'm not sure, Shelly, if you're actually going to get an elephant brought to you. It could be that someone brings you an elephant. Or you're going to work with elephants at some point, or it's in a spiritual way, Ganesh, which is moving an obstacle that you're dealing with right now, like a major obstacle with your sanctuary. But I kept seeing an actual elephant. So sometimes I'll see Ganesh, and know it's Ganesh. This actually felt like a real elephant. So someone may have one and be like, I don't know what to do with this elephant. Seriously. So that is possible, or it's like a big creature that you're not used to that's bigger than normal, bigger than a horse. And the marriage thing, who is anyone
Peter.
Getting married?
No, Peter got married. We were actually talking about it in the show at the beginning. She got married a year ago, but it was very married because the married.
About a year and a half ago.
No. That's too. No, this is coming and hasn't happened yet.
Yes.
So Peter, that would be too long. It has to be.
Well, we are. I mean, we had our ceremony, but the legal marriage is going to be next year. Like just.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense because I was like, it hasn't happened yet. That what I'm seeing is not actually really. It hasn't happened. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, got it. Now, Anrita, this is for you. I'm starting to get clear on who's getting what message, but I'm seeing a lot of world travel for you. Like, I saw like you fly one way around the world and then back another way around the world. So that's like global travel. So you've got some flights, like major flights. But it's awesome. I mean, would India be on your list? India or somewhere near India?
I've been to India a few times. I don't know if I'll go. Possibly. It depends on, you see, the light tribe, the gatherings of the light tribe. The idea is to set it up in a whole lot of different countries. And then show the people how to do it. It's just setting it up initially, and then everyone can do it themselves because that's essentially where we're going. So I see that as something really fun and exciting and important. I'm not sure if I'll get to India right now, but it'll all happen. All that travel and movement out, and it's very, very exciting. I'm certainly. Delighted myself to be moving out and connecting physically with the light tribe.
India's in there. It's in there. somehow it's in there.
Yes, very possible.
Still, yeah, it's in my face. It won't go. So that means it's like the angels are like, no, India is happening.
Okay. Okay. Yes, well, I have an Indian friend that may be coming to do some work here next year. So it's possibly just picking up the Indian connection too, because we I've been there a few times doing conferences, and she's going to come over here now in March, April. So
Okay.
yes, it's part of that. Yes, how wonderful. Lovely, lovely, Debbie. So I don't know, is there something else that you might pick up that you want to say for the group?
Right now, that was for the group. There's something for everybody, I guess, listening. I felt that with your transmission today and with Shelly, when she sang, our vibration is different. Every soul that heard that and that's here listening, their vibration got kind of tweaked, and it's going to stay that way. So that means change. Just for everybody listening, get ready. That means something changed or will change.
How wonderful. How wonderful. So I'm going to take the opportunity now to choose you each a little card. And I'm going to start with Debbie. She's being so expressive and sharing her absolutely amazing light with us. So this is Archangel Gabriel who's coming through for you. And I'm going to read the back first. So this is done also as an energetic attunement. Archangel Gabriel ignites his white flame of light within my loving heart. And I see my soul light expand from within my loving heart. My innocence and purity glowing and bright. An affirmation there is, I accept myself just as I am. I am magnificent. I am a spark of the divine. So I think really essentially there it's just, we all just these absolutely amazing, magnificent, beautiful beings. And it's just we holding that flame of divine love. And this is, of course, about communication. So I see you also just deepening into that communication expression is coming through new soul notes, through the throat. So we're seeing different new levels of expression, new levels of communication, new levels of conscious communication relationship too. So that seems to be coming through too, which is quite lovely. All right.
Thank you.
Let's go to you. Yeah, we've got Raphael. Beautiful Archangel Raphael, as we know, is this beautiful angel of healing. Archangel Raphael's beautiful emerald green healing flame of light surrounds me now. I feel so good. I surround my friends and family in this beautiful emerald green healing flame so they can feel good about themselves too. So remember, this was done for parents and children. This one said, I am grateful for my family and friends. I know we can all feel good about ourselves. With God's love and the help of the angels, all is well. So there's different levels that's coming through there. One is, of course, just seeing you deepening into grace and appreciation, which is really amazing and wonderful to see. And then again, there just seems to be a little bit of discomfort too within the physical body. So something there is just your energy levels just a little bit up and down right now. That too will come to balance. So, and I think also, with where the weather starts to change and the body is kind of responding differently, it's like just a change of season, and it's getting yourself into the change of season and just feeling a little bit tired. So the super green energy, the spirulina, the vitamin D, all of that for you right now would just be very useful.
Oh, beautiful.
Even the Soleil. If you know the Soleil that you take, the Himalayan sea salt, and you take like a teaspoon of it and you put it in a, like a glass of water, the equivalent of that, and you shake it up, and every day you just take a teaspoon in the morning in a glass of water. And because that Soleil has about 84 different minerals in it, and it really just perks up your energy. So it's a very good one. And I picked that up with you too, Shelly. I'm going to get to you now, but in terms of your energy, it's a little bit anemic. Your energy is also a little bit up and down, apart from digestive stuff there still, which I know is, that you're working on. Your energy levels are also a little bit up and down. So, you know, it's again, just in your case, it's just taking that time out for yourself too. And also, because of that anemia slightly, just taking a little bit more of, you know, sort of the, I don't know if it's the iron or calcium, kind of that would definitely help you a little bit there too. And who we get for you is the Archangel Michael. So this is a card of strength for you. And he says, he wraps you in his beautiful blue cloak of light. And, you know, this would be that you would say, I am safe and supported as I hug my fears within my loving heart, giving them a voice to be seen and heard. I breathe deep into my body. I breathe in love. I breathe out love. And that is really such an important part of the work that we do, that breathing in, isn't it? You know, breathing in love, breathing out love. All right. So we're about to finish in a minute or two. Let me just see what this French says. I love myself and I know that it is okay to feel whatever I am feeling. I am safe. I am in control of my emotions. So it's still a lot of clearing, purging. Some of that's still coming up for you, which is really part of those energies releasing. It seems resentment seems to be one of them. And also just know that you have that strength and power, not only in terms of your own courage, but actually, you know, you've got it with the light of Michael. So to find your voice, to stand in your power, it looks like some sort of legal agreement, something is happening there, that you're still trying to sort out. Something is going on there. Jovial, Tim. So that's really what we're working with again, joy. You know, we've been talking about this here. Archangel Jovial anchors her golden yellow flame of joy within my loving heart. Flame of joy now expands from within my loving heart, moving now into each one of my cells, organs, and body parts. I breathe in joy. I breathe out joy. Every part of my body feels joyful and happy. My heart is smiling. I am smiling. I am happy with my life. So I don't think that you're lacking in joy. I think it's just an extension of moving more into your playful nature, which is so much a part of your energy. So the universe is sort of saying, you know, we kind of appreciate your playful, joyful nature and how you bring that across and share that with others.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I see. I've read a message. Peter has to leave.
Yes, that's right. So we're going to end now anyway. You know, just before we do, I'm going to ask Peter, who's rushing up just before the rest of us, if there's any last words that you might like to say, Peter.
Well, I think I would like to say that it's really important to remember that this is a journey. You know, I think so many times we get stuck in the, well, when I've sorted this, then I'll. For those that are watching, it's just to remember that it is the journey. It's happening right now. And the more present you can be to it, the more you can lean in, the lighter you are, the higher your vibration, and the more prosperity you receive. And thank you.
How wonderful.
It's been so lovely to connect with you again and to meet these wonderful people. And so really just such an honor, and I just have such a gratitude for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. So wonderful to connect with you too. Big hugs and lots of love to you if you've got to head out right now. Thank you, Peter.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.
Ciao.
And while I remember, she was Debbie. Debbie has created this beautiful MP3 for us, a morning meditation with Archangel Michael. So I'm going to put that there too on the links on the Facebook, along with all the page links again, and website details of all our beautiful panelists and co-hosts today. So that you're welcome. Then it's just a Hightail link. So you're welcome to just go online and download that MP3 and, you know, listen to it every morning. It's just really beautiful, beautiful, amazing voice, and something simple but also very powerful. And as we know, Archangel Michael is just an absolutely powerhouse of just absolutely amazing energy. So what a lovely way to start the day. So thank you so much for that, Debbie. And I just wanted to ask you, Debbie, then if there's any events or anything that you're doing coming up that you might like to share.
The next upcoming, well, I've got a couple things coming up. I'm going to be in Los Angeles working January 10th to January 20th in person. And that's when I'm giving the Reiki sessions too. A lot of people can receive Reiki if you're in LA during that time. And I am in the process of opening a healing center here in Miami. So I'll be here treating people, anyone who happens to be in South Florida. That'll be next year, probably starting in February of next year.
Well, I have a beautiful friend there, Claudia Aras, who also has a light center. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but you know, she would really be a wonderful person also to connect with. And yeah, so I'll send you those details too. So how absolutely wonderful, wonderful. And Shelly, I'm absolutely would be delighted at some point to come and, you know, and spend a little bit of time on your beautiful nature reserve. So we shall put it out there. And for all in the Light Tribe too, that may like to connect with Shelly and, you know, maybe even bring your tent and, you know, spend a few days there. That sounds sort of something that sounds quite perfect, doesn't it? Do you want to take a little break from busyness or city life? Go all hang out with Shelly. I just wish I could teleport there. To make love. Sim's got his dog up with my boys and my cats. So I got two boys that are 9 and 11. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to just get in the plane and head off somewhere. But that too, you know, is happening. So it's absolutely wonderful how we're all coming together. And I certainly feel so absolutely blessed. We got Betty saying there too that thank you so much. I enjoyed listening to you all and love this wonderful session. What a high vibration, light and loveful gift today. Blessings and love to you all. Most of our comments will definitely be on the Facebook page. Wonderful to receive those on the Zoom. So I think we're going to end it for there today, and just an absolute amazing gift to have these beautiful, beautiful souls sharing their gifts with us. And I know I can say really from our collective heart to yours.
Well, what a wonderful initiative. Thank you so much, Anrita, for having organized this. I enjoyed it a lot. I see, so do you, Debbie and Shelly. Beautiful.
Yes, we all did. Thank you so very much. So big hugs, lots of love, and we love you from our hearts to yours and to the cosmic heart of all creation. Blessings in love. Namaste. See you then. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
New Earth Cosmic Conversations.